For years, Puyo has been one of the most underrated players in Fortnite. While Peterbot got most of the spotlight, Puyo has become one of the most consistent winners in Fortnite history. But during the recent Fortnite FNCS Summit, Puyo finally stepped out of Peterbot's shadow and showed the world why he can be considered one of the greatest to ever play. Something I want to mention is that Puyo and Peterbot had a very terrible start to their tournament. They were actually in 29th place, and they managed to finish this tournament in 2nd place. And most of that is credited to Puyo and the solo clutches that he's about to pull off in this video. So right here, Peterbot and Puyo are only 80 above Surge. They're looking to get some storm tags, and Puyo right here is going to catch this player with a pre-fire, gets the kill on Minori. Refresh very much needed, but since he took damage, they're only 12 above the Surge, and they need to continue moving to deal more damage. Surge, of course, is extremely important in these stacked tournaments. There is 65 players alive in this very tiny circle. There are 105 below Surge, so they're going to start taking damage here unless they deal some damage, but they also don't want to overexpose themselves, because if they take more damage, they'll be in a bigger hole. So they're choosing to be patient right now. You can see that his shield is taking 25 damage every 7 seconds. They're forced to use their heals, which is not ideal for them, but they'd rather do this than make any unnecessary plays that will cost them. Puyo looking to get some tags. Peterbot built up on the high ground. They've got the circle on their back. Here they're going to get some tags, and now they are 165 above, kind of ruining the rotation right there for Alex and Reckless, the Oceania duo. But now things are a little bit more chill. They don't have the Surge tagging them. They've got a high ground position, which is excellent. Reckless is going to go down there to Rapid and Cold. They see the knock. More damage coming down on Rapid. They're going to punish him. And they're going to maintain their high ground position here on the side of the mountain. They've somehow dropped to 4 below Surge, so they got to get more damage down. Puyo with the gold burst SMG. He's looking to get some tags. They're back 72 above. It seems like Peterbot got a few hits. And now they're planning their next rotation. The circle does pull pretty far away. They're going to do I believe they're going to do a duo overdrive, shockwave, rotate. They're only 68 above though, so they're actually going to get some tags before making the rotation on the other duos. They're getting ready to move. There's a rift up in the sky. Here comes the shockwave. Duo rotation. Puyo's going to get tagged quite a bit. Lands, gets back in the box with Peter. Because of the Storm Surge, they ended up using a lot of their splashes, so not many heals left for the duo. But right now, all they're focused on is getting damage. They are 370 above. Only one more player needs to die, and they pretty much don't have to worry about Storm Surge anymore. Once there's 40 players left, Storm Surge turns off, as the game will like naturally progress to an end. Peterbot giving Puyo some materials. They're going to use the overdrive grenade in this box and then rotate with the movement boost. Here, Puyo's going to catch this player. That was Puyo's awareness right there, catching Epic Whale for a very much needed refresh. He put the cone down himself. And you notice the thing about this duo is that Peterbot has priority. Peterbot is the one using the heals there. He's the one who's usually getting the best weapons. He is Peterbot after all. But despite that, Puyo was able to show in this tournament that he is just as good. If not, he actually outperformed Peterbot in this tourney specifically. And something you might not know about Puyo is he's actually the #1 earned Mexican player in the world on Fortnite. And he's actually extremely good in a solo setting, which has me excited for the solo FNCS. Look at this refresh he gets on Swizzy, catches him off the high ground, and now because of that elimination, Peterbot and Puyo are on height. That was a crazy play. So Puyo is really good in solos. His first earnings back in the day, back in 2020, all of his earnings was from solos, and he actually, his first FNCS he played was the solo FNCS back in chapter 2, where he finished 53rd place. So he has a lot of solo experience, which he's going to utilize in this tournament, because there's going to be some insane solo plays from Puyo to clutch up and help him and Peterbot climb from nearly dead last. I mean, 30th place is nothing to brag about, all the way up to 2nd place at the end of this tourney. Once you see Puyo and Peter on high ground, it's really, really hard for them to lose a game. They've just got such a dominant high ground presence. No one wants to challenge them on height either. It's a very tough team to fight. I think right here we might see a challenge from Rinx and Cooper, if I'm remembering correctly. Yep, there it is. Rinx goes up. Peterbot is going to be taking some tags. Puyo challenging back, doing some good damage back against them. They don't want to give up this height. They know they have health advantage. Now Peterbot ends up getting sprayed from Rinx, but Puyo is going to defeat Rinx right there. Cooper seems to be out of mats. Puyo underneath the build, makes the edit, hits Cooper, gets the refresh, and now it is a 1v2 against Demas and Darm. These guys were in the top 5 for most of the tourney. Right here, Puyo is trying to bury them. Great shot as Demas goes up. Darm looks like he's going to die in Storm, but these players are too good. Darm wraps around the outside and actually makes it all the way back up. He's going to catch a shot right there from Puyo. Puyo jumps over the top, slides through, lands the shotgun shot. 8 eliminations, 12 as a duo. This was the start of their climb to the top, and it all starts with this Puyo clutch. Now we jump into their next win, where Puyo is going to grab this elimination right here in the early game. Peterbot and Puyo are fighting. They're getting some tags, chasing this player who's kind of weak. Should be an easy cleanup with the SMG. Finishes him with the shotgun. This is their first elimination of the game, and then they end up getting into the end game. So we're going to jump into that. Now, this was a very crucial fight right here, because Sky and Scroll were on a roll this entire tournament, and they had such a huge lead. And I don't know if they knew that this was them, but Puyo and Peterbot end up jumping Sky and Scroll, and Puyo gets a huge knock on Sky. If this did not happen, there would have not been enough time or games for Sky and Scroll to lose their position. Now, obviously, something else also happened to them in the final game where they died off spawn. But it all started. This was the downfall of Sky and Scroll. This knock from Puyo, because Scroll ends up running away from Peterbot and Puyo here. However, he does end up going down pretty soon after, so they don't get any placement points this game, and all credit is due to Peterbot and Puyo's push against them. Now, the interesting thing about Puyo and Peterbot is they almost never played together, because back when NA East and NA West were actually split, Puyo played on NA West FNCS, and back then, first place from NA West in the FNCS would qualify for globals. But Puyo and his teammate at the time ended up getting 2nd place, only missing out by 4 points. Now, if he had qualified, he would have went on to play globals with his teammate Defiable, and there might have been a chance that he never splits from West and goes to play Central, where he eventually played with Sphinx and then later on Peterbot. So now they're 350 above. They're feeling good. Puyo has both eliminations. Let's jump through and see how they handle this endgame. All right, so they're rotating here to the next circle. Puyo gets some damage there that could have been very messy. He's actually taking their roof back here. He's like, oh, I like this. I like this. I think they're going to end up getting a double kill. This was a great call by Puyo. He saw that they were distracted trying to hold players. He ends up taking their roof from 2 layers back so they don't hear that, and they get a double kill refresh. I need to know who made the call there, but it looked like Puyo's decision making just got them a 2-kill refresh, which is huge right before this end game. They're now 770 above Surge. They've got really good materials, nearly max materials, and they're ready maybe to go for a high ground play on the moving circle. They're chopping these guys out. Shark and Teeny, they're applying pressure to this duo. That was a good chop. They didn't see that coming. Puyo's looking around, trying to gather some intel before this rotate. Now they're rotating across. Gets in a good position. And now they're cranking for height. Cranking 90s for height. And now they have it. There it is. They're applying pressure to all these players. Shark goes down there. That's a huge knock. I think Peterbot was the one who ended up getting the knock. But that's massive because Shark was right behind them in the leaderboard. Actually, right ahead of them at this point. But that was massive because it opens up the position for them to get second place later on in the tournament. Puyo building across, using his metal. From the refresh that he got, he's able to commit all these mats. And now they just hold height with this gold rapid SMG, just applying pressure to all the teams below. Double layering his build so that they don't get chopped out. And from here, they're just applying pressure to all these teams. I think he's going to get a knock on Chap, who's dying in Storm, I believe. Oh, he's got the Chug Jug going. Still so many materials from this high ground hold. So many. Acorn and Bolts are in Storm. Their awareness is crazy to look back into Storm for these teams as well. Now, in this game, Peterbot is going to go down, leaving Puyo as a solo. And it's about to be an even crazier clutch for Puyo. Going back through their old builds. At this point, they're just farming placement points. They're breaking down that structure so no one can use it behind them. So, still got 200 light ammo. They're eventually going to have to drop down if they want more of these eliminations. There's the Fizz. Fizznade goes down. Peterbot shockwaves up. I believe he's going to land down. I'm not too sure. He might be going down and leaving Puyo up top. No, they're both still up top. I mean, they've got 5 eliminations, so just going for the win here is not a bad idea. There's another elimination. Peter picks that one up. Now, does Peter go down? Try to finish some of the fights? No. Yeah, he does. Peter goes down. He's down low. Puyo is still up top. Applying pressure. He's running out of SMG ammo, though. He's running out, so I think Peter should have dropped him some light ammo. Maybe he already did. Because Peter's using the Scar, I believe. Now, Peter gets caught in Storm, comes back up. Puyo's going to drop some heals, or Peter's just going to use the splashes. Puyo drops him some shockwaves. Now, both of them end up shocking up and dropping down on Cooper and Rinx. However, Peterbot gets knocked. This was crazy. And now Puyo's left 1 versus 2 against 2 of the best North American players ever. Luckily, though, he has the height advantage. He has the materials. He has the pizza, the heals, the weapons. He's applying pressure to both of them. Cooper's back up to full health, full shield. Puyo answers back with a shotgun shot. Cooper goes above. Puyo cranks up, protected. Pops pizza. He's going to stay in Storm. Side shot on Cooper. Pops another pizza. Throws that. Cooper knocked. He wants to get the siphon. And now Peterbot makes the call for Puyo to go up in the air. Siphon's kicking in. Reet's underneath. Puyo all the way up. Reet has no idea where he's at. He finally spots him, but it's too late. Puyo 1v2 clutch for the second victory royale, putting them in the top 3 going into the final match. Now, in this final game, Vico and Malabuka are running with it after Sky and Scroll go down. And the point difference is so great, but Puyo and Peterbot do nearly make it happen. However, Shark and Teeny are holding height, making it very challenging for Peterbot and Puyo to actually rack up the eliminations they need to steal first place. Now, Puyo and Peter know they got to make an aggressive play, but Shark and Teeny are just too good. They're applying that pressure, forcing them to use all their pizza. And I believe Peterbot might go down here. Puyo under pressure, barely gets out. Look at this movement. Not a single edit miss right there. He's gonna put the pizza down, starts eating the pizza back up to full health, grabbing some pizza slices. Peterbot, on the other hand, goes down in Storm, leaving Puyo by himself with 20 players left. He's on the high ground, and now it's time for him to cook. Keep in mind, this was almost a Peterbot and Puyo win. If Peterbot did not go down and Shark and Teeny died, and they actually should have died earlier in this game, but Teeny managed to stay alive to reboot Shark, Peterbot and Puyo might have been at 6 or 7 kills in this end game, which would have put them very, very close to Vico and Malabuka, who don't end up winning this game. And Puyo is actually going to make it to the very end to decide if he has a chance to win or not, which is just insane. There's Vico and Malabuka. They're on the side. They're getting the placements. They know Puyo is still alive. They know he's close behind them in points. And I can't believe no one is challenging him up here as a solo. Everyone is just so focused on this end game. Even the loot that Puyo has in this final game is not as good as the loot he had in most of the games. It's just crazy. Gets the kill on Teeny right there. Teeny and Shark were very close to Puyo and Peter, by the way. They could have stolen second place from them. But Puyo now is in Storm. He grabs some mats, but he's down to only a few mats in this 1v2 against Epic, Whale, and Pump. 1v2, he cracks Pump. He's got just one build and a shockwave. Cammy comes running in. They're gonna get the kill on Cammy. That's a free refresh for... No, actually, I actually think Puyo's gonna get... No, he doesn't. That's a free refresh, making it a lot harder for Puyo to clutch. But even with that, he makes a play, knocks Pump, gets killed by Epic Whale. But with these clutches, Puyo single-handedly brings him and Peterbot from top 30 to second place to close out the tournament, earning them $150,000 with his solo performance. That was insane. The crowd absolutely loved it. 2 victory royales, nearly 3 victory royales to the 0 that Malabuka and Vico got, but Malabuka and Vico were so consistent the entire tournament, which is why they finished in first place. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Put some respect on Puyo's name because he is just as good as Peterbot, and in this tournament, he was better. Don't forget to like and subscribe.